BONELAB is one of the best games I've ever played, that in addition to Boneworks. They're on the list of my top favorite games, and as much as I love Boneworks, BONELAB is so much easier to customize and mod. I've wanted to mod Boneworks for a long time, but I haven't taken the initiative because I didn't know how hard it would get. Now with BONELAB, a game that's 50% about mods anyway, I finally thought I'd give it a go. So for the rest of the 30 minutes of this video, you'll see me struggle, experiment, and probably even cry a little as I try to make my own BONELAB level. I had a plan as to what the map would be like from the start. I had the idea to make it based on my real house, the one I live in. The one I eat food in, you know? But how would I do that? Well, considering the rest of the project, this was actually the easy part. I went around my house and took pictures everywhere, of every nook and cranny. Then I used those pictures as reference to draw my house, which was honestly kinda hard. I tried to do something like this years ago in Roblox, and I failed there as well because the links didn't match up. They didn't here either, but I figured as long as it's good from the inside, it doesn't matter how it is from the outside. I tried to measure the walls with an actual measuring tape first, but it wasn't long enough and it snapped easily. So I ended up using my phone to measure with. It's surprisingly accurate and was easy to use. Then I got all the lengths and put them down on the paper so I could map it out in Unity later. So actually modeling the house was pretty straightforward. Just make the walls with the right dimensions and you're good to go. Though I did feel as something was wrong, like the dimensions in Unity didn't perfectly match the ones in real life. But after actually getting to see the walls and floors from in-game, it felt okay. I don't know, just something about how it looked in Unity didn't match with my expectations. Anyway, I watched a ton of tutorials while doing this, by the way. I wouldn't have gotten through it without it. You can also see me mess around with some lighting here and there, which was something I had no idea how to manage. I also messed around with some Novish systems, something I actually knew how to deal with. Yeah, I didn't know it then, but the lighting part was eventually going to screw me over big time. Now the next thing was getting every spawnable in place. I used the spawnable placers for this. It's easy and is meant for BONELAB level creation. It basically lets you place, make, and configure these spawn points for items which the player can interact with, like guns or computers and tables and all that good stuff. Now you also see me do a little bit of texturing here. I'm reusing textures from Boneworks here, and considering I'm not a master texturer, it's not looking great. UVs are being stretched, textures are applied on all sides, it's a mess. Luckily, I found this add-on that would help me tremendously throughout the entirety of this journey. It's called Master Cube, and it's made to always, regardless of how you shape and resize it, always have perfect UVs. So instead of stretchy materials, we have perfectly uniform materials. Then it was time for testing. Yeah, not so fast. As I said, the lighting was going to screw me over. For this build, I had all the lighting set to real time. I did this because I thought it would look better and give a more realistic experience. Well, no. You should never use real-time rendering for lights when making BONELAB maps. The level wouldn't even load. It's too heavy of a load, even on strong computers. Not to mention the quest. I, of course, didn't know this before I read it online. So after going back and forth changing the lighting, something was still wrong. For some reason, even after I changed the lighting to baked, it still wouldn't work. As I said, I didn't know anything about lighting, so I hadn't actually baked any of the lighting I put out. But I am to this day still bummed out at what broke the map for me. Luckily for me, this wasn't the first time I'd made a BONELAB map. You see, a few months prior to this, I made my very own playground map with pillars and hallways and a bunch of other stuff. It didn't look good, of course not. I told you already I'm bad at texturing, but at this point, it was my only chance. I imported the house into the level and tested it out, and it worked. Keep in mind, there is no baked lighting, so it's gonna look horrible. But I do find out later how to do that kind of stuff, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, take a look. Yeah, oh, there we go, that's perfect. Okay, look at this shit, bro. Holy crap, it's so much like real life. Oh, there's this thing. Can you pick it up? No, I can't apparently not pick this up. Okay. Oh god, this lost its texture. No, wait, okay. Gonna have to update that. This is the wrong way around. This one definitely couldn't flip. And, yeah, this needs a texture. This is missing its texture. Yeah, it's still there though, but
it's just missing the texture.
Yeah, the rest of the footage here is just me messing around. So, there were some things that needed fixing, like the very obvious thing, the textures. Now, these problems I actually knew how to fix. The textures were all very glossy, so I turned down the smoothness and it was all good. So what you're seeing now is me turning the rest of the map into master cubes. I knew from the start that if I was going to release this, it couldn't be in the form it is now. I mean, the house is literally floating for no reason. So, the mission was make the map bigger, move the house down, make the map pretty, and last but not least, make the map fun. When it came time to expand the map, I had a hard time figuring out what to fill out the rest of the map with, so I also put that aside. Instead, focusing on replacing some of the things I had removed previously. The hallway got replaced with an entire warehouse, inspired of course by the warehouse in Boneworks. That's what you're seeing me build here. This warehouse was definitely part of what cost me the most headaches in this entire project, and it ended up being the enemies. I didn't know how to script, so I couldn't make a button that automatically spawned enemies when I wanted to, so all enemies I placed came instantly when the map loaded. But that wasn't the bad part. What came to be a problem was the fact that the enemy I had chosen for the warehouse, the Omni projector, directly conflicted with the enemies in the surrounding area. Look at this.
Oh god, what's going on here? What the hell? Oh! Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of odd, but I'm gonna have to change that. Again. Whoa! No! Oh, Jesus. I think it's really difficult to control, by the way. Okay, so this is kind of the part that I'm most curious about. How does it look inside now? It's not as glossy, really. No, it isn't. It's good. Hey, bro, what's up? Home invasion mode.
Also, you can see here, I opened up the end of the kill house just to make it easier to get back to the start. Just a little detail. We have a little time skip here because I went ahead and did some off-camera work, mainly lighting. By now, I had figured out how to make and bake lighting, which takes forever by the way, so now we can actually get some accurate shadows in here. I also took the liberty to expand the map into the open areas of the void and even levitate the killhouse part to make the map a bit more engaging. Also moved the zombies from on top of the warehouse down to the floor level. Let's see how that went.
Alright, so we're actually now in the game after I've put out some lighting, but you might also notice that I've extended basically this part out upwards at an angle, so then we actually have the kill house a bit outwards and a bit less centric to the map as well. But you might also realize that I've gotten this area as well. This is where I plan to put the go-kart map. Just a little like obstacles, some ramps, some tunnels and shit. That's what I plan on doing here. But as for now, there's nothing here. Like, the first thing that I realized is this looks very Gmod-y. This looks like Gmod. This texture, this looks like something that would be in Gmod. I seriously do consider making something that looks like that, and I think I've done a pretty good job already. So I think I want to do some fine-tuning on the spawns here. I want to extend kind of where this goes. I want to extend them outwards. But I also realized that it didn't really fix the problem I had with these guys noticing them. So what I think I want to do is move this part, or yeah, fuck, I don't really know what to do in that case. Jesus, because I moved what was on top of here. I moved that down here because I kind of want to know what's making them aggro, and I'm pretty sure that it's the actual the zombies here, but I'm still not sure if it's these ones or these ones, and if they're in range or not. So what I might want to do in that case is just move this a bit further out, and then move this up to that corner. move the spawn right here, or something like that. You know, just make sure that it's further away so that they don't actually notice them.
Hey.
Whoa! Holy shit! Oh, that's right. Oh, I kind of forgot about that. Game development drop here. I don't know if it's in this room or the other one. I think it's like right here. We have something called a reflection probe, and basically what that does is it stands here, then it scans the environment in the editor, and basically creates a reflection map. And then based on that reflection map, the surrounding areas in game will have a reflection map based off of that reflection probe. And in the editor, as you've seen, these things don't actually look like this. They look purple. So when these things in the editor are scanned by the reflection probe, they're scanned as being purple, and they're scanned as being just purple text that says void, as you've seen in the editor, and not actually this. Just let me... Yeah. Thank you. So that's one of the issues, but personally I think it looks very cool. I think it looks kind of great actually, so I'm going to keep it. But as for the other way around, if you don't want it, you could just move all of the things that you don't want it to reflect out into another area or something like that, because yeah, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want purple tint in something that I wouldn't want purple tint in. So just be aware about that if you're doing this yourself.
I had no direct plan for the two areas next to the kill house, but I knew I wanted to make something that correlates to the theme in the lower park, which it is the closest to, as there were now two main areas I had to populate with attractions and other stuff. I also went ahead and moved a lot in this part. In addition to spawn, I made sure that no zombies or skeletons ever were close enough to the Omni projectors upon spawn. So I moved the shooting range further away and the zombie gym cluster, whatever you want to call it, even further up next to the kill house. So now that there was a severe lack of buildings in the shooting section, I had to make some. So I busted out the good old master cube and begun modeling. I made a little arena area that could be used in some combat against friends or AI. I also made a mini warehouse that could be good for beginner boners. Before starting the go-kart section, I wanted to fill out the remaining space next to the kill house. So I got some more boneworks textures and made a shooting range. I tried out some colored lighting for this area and I thought it looked pretty cool. When it finally was time for the next area, I didn't want to go too crazy in the beginning. I wanted something that works and that I knew I could develop later. So I got some more boneworks materials and made a bunch of ramps and obstacles. It wasn't too hard, but I'm sure there is a better way than using cubes for slopes and stuff. Anyway, now we're gonna try all that out in game.
Yeah. I don't know what they're aggroing over. I changed up the hollow wall to show something a bit more thematic, something that will accurately represent what's actually going on here. But yeah, no, I don't think I can actually have those in there. If I figure it out, I probably can make a button that will spawn people in there. But as for now, I guess the best way to do it is just spawn your own enemies, because you see, some of them don't aggro at all, and some just absolutely fucking go berserk and just for no reason just attack. So I think I'm just gonna play some nobody agents and regular zombies, just regular nobodies, and then I'm gonna do that instead, because I seriously don't think that I want to hassle around with those Omni projectors anymore. These three things, basically, and this thing, they're really the only things that still stand from the original map. Other than that, a lot has changed from the original map. None of this was here, none of this. The kill house wasn't there, the warehouse. And this would kind of have like, what can you call it? Like a mini map, kind of like time trials and stuff. You can have some fun with dynamic map and stuff. Oh Jesus. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity. Now I guess it's time for the fully new part of this map, which is the go-kart section. Oh, that is perfect. Holy shit, I'm getting a haircut walking onto this. No way. This guy's a little bit taller. Okay, this is getting a haircut. Holy shit. This is centimeters. It's a me, Wario. Oh. Yo. Oh. Jesus.
I wanted to expand the go-kart section with some spawn balls, but I didn't want to go too overboard, so I just added some barrels and crates here and there, as well as some props. I had to perform some fine-tuning with the ramps and slopes, as well as make the final big ramp next to the kill house. That didn't take me too much time, so the next thing I was onto was the warehouse. After realizing the Omni projectors had an unstoppable rage within them I had no ability to stop, I chose to swap out all the enemies in the warehouse for skeletons, zombies, and nobodies. My prediction was for this to work perfectly and have no problem at all. I also reworked some lighting for the warehouse as I thought it looked a bit bland. I also did this in the shooting range and the kill house.
Okay. So these people are clearly not friends. This is so fun. Right, this seems correct. Yep. This is kind of perfect in my opinion. Oh my god, look at this. This is the same mostly. I've done some lighting. Looks kind of cool in my opinion. I don't know if you saw in the time lapse, but I also added this. Wow. I said to myself, as I was placing this thing, it's fine if it's going this way, that way, and that way, but not this way. Guess which way it went? Yep, the only way I hoped it wasn't going. I think I'm gonna point this in that direction. I think I want to do some more big lighting, because as it is now, it's looking kind of dark. It's looking a bit unlit. It's looking quite dark. And I kind of want to make this its original color, because that's probably gonna contribute to some lighting. Anyway, let's go! Holy crap! So basically, there's nothing else that I know that will go wrong with the next fix. Basically, all those will be null men. I assure you they will not fight. Those will probably be one of the same type as well. I don't know what even is wrong with this one. Turn around to Apollo in that one, do some brighter lighting.
There was some fine-tuning necessary for the big ramp next to the kill house to ensure players weren't falling off it when trying to get up. I also made all enemies that would be in close range to each other the same type, so no more enemy on enemy combat ever. I also tried out some volumetric fog to establish a better BONELAB feel, as the BONELAB campaign uses a lot of fog in its levels. I also placed some enemies in the go-kart area, and even tried out the lore clipboard, though I didn't find out how to change the text on it, so it didn't make the final version. I also felt as the world looked a little bland in general, so I ripped some nature assets from Boneworks and placed them all around the entire map. This process took a while, but after some tinkering, both the trees and rocks had working textures. There was only one problem though.
Yeah, and you probably saw it in the time lapse, but I planted some trees and some rocks as well. So now it looks, holy shit. Are they non-collision? Huh. Odd. Well, this is the final release regardless, so that's gonna have to be an issue for later. You might also have seen I placed some other action. I placed some NPCs in this area as well. Went ahead and added something that would be fun to run into, and I fixed that so that it's not actually pointing whatever. Does this actually say anything? Hi, Lord Text goes here. I don't know what I would have to do to add colliders to them. I think you'd have to do that manually. And you know, I don't know how to do that. I added some text here that says need speed. Cause yeah, you kinda need speed to get up there. I mean, it's not perfect, despite the fact that there are no issues to resolve that I feel like have to be prioritized. I mean, the kind of Gorilla Tag graphics here, but you know, the fact that there's no collision, I still feel like, I mean, they are environmental, so, you know,
So, this is actually where the story would end. I considered the map partially done and ready for use. But there was still an issue. The collisions. For over a week after filming that last bit, it had been aching my entire mental health to the point where I couldn't live with it anymore. It was just the only thing I could think about, ever. Wherever I went. I just couldn't get over it. The collisions, they were missing. So I'm a bit sick. I don't know if you can hear it, but my nose is, you know, annoyed. But just ignore that. So I realized something. The reason these guys weren't having collisions was because they were missing a component that was, you know, making them collide with other stuff. And it was this. The collider. Kind of obvious. Why aren't these colliding with things? Because they're missing a collider. Yeah, no shit. But yeah, I didn't even notice or check if they had colliders. So what I did was just go to add component, look up mesh collider, because these are meshes. You know, these would use box colliders because, you know, these are uniform shapes. They don't have any spikes or anything. These have edges here, odd shapes and stuff. They move around and stuff. They're kind of unnatural. They're not perfectly straight like this, so box collider wouldn't work on these ones. Make sure convex is enabled as well as is trigger. And then basically you'll just have to go to the extent of doing this on every single one of them. And so basically that's what I've done. I've done this to every single one, and ensure that this is happening to every single one of these trees and stuff. Yeah, it's a quick and a simple solution to that, actually. You know, it doesn't get much more difficult than that, actually. Kind of easy. So you can now climb in it, I guess, or you can throw fort at it. You know, your choice. Well, here I was wrong, once again. And it did, in fact, get more complicated than that. For some reason that I still don't know to this day, this would never work. I tried so many variations of this solution, but it never worked. I tried collisions on the meshes, realizing I had to apply the meshes to the colliders. It still didn't work. I even tried putting mesh colliders on the packs. It never worked. If somebody knows why none of my solutions worked, please tell me. I'd like to know, or even have a discussion about it. This was also around the time where I tried adding music to my map, something I had never done before. So let's see how that went. Oh, the music loaded fast. The music, there's, well, I changed it. I actually just have one song now. Wait a minute. Why is there no music now, though? I'm gonna spare you the details. That never worked either. I spent a full day refining and trying to make both the collisions and the music work, but in the end, I failed at both of those things. Yeah. And why the fuck? So, after having no luck with any of the colliders, I decided I should just go the totally opposite route. Make the trees and rocks myself. This way, there's no way they would lack a collider, and I would also have a little bit more to credit myself for. They're put together quite simply with just basic shapes and textures. Okay, so these at least have collision now. These do too. I think this light here is what I'm gonna use for most places. I'm gonna spam this light here over a lot of different spots. It's like when I'm looking in a very specific direction. For the last and final version of this map, I had mostly messed around with the lighting. I had also realized the music only played when I held my head still, which is probably why it played in the loading screen, because my avatar's head wasn't being controlled. That didn't lead me to solving the problem though, so sadly there's no music in the final version. Again, if you know, please tell me. It was now just to check that everything was right before I make a more high-res lighting bake for the final version. I hadn't fully removed the music yet, as I would go on to do that in the 100% final version. But other than that, everything seems good. No missing collisions, no enemy-on-enemy combat, and much better lighting. I made the lighting here a bit more like sunshine, which in my humble opinion looks much better. So making sure there was no more problems and removing the music, I was ready at last to compile the final version and try it out. And yes, this part is recorded properly on PC. But I'm not going to show you too much actually, because for now, this is where the story ends. I'm going to make the map public for PC and perhaps Quest later. If you want to see more PC gameplay, there is a trailer for the map in the description of this video as well as on the mod.io page. Anyway, I hope you found this video somewhat helpful in some way. I want to make BONELAB modding possible for everyone, and I hope this video encourages you to go out there and start making as well. See, everything out here is about building, about creation. Everything is possible with the lava game.